Hello, and may the 4th be with you.
May the 4th, everyone!
And with your spirit.
That's one way to kick this off.
I couldn't help it. Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Cassette Take. I'm Ethan.
I'm Annmarie.
And welcome to Cassette Take, where you can eject wherever you want, but please don't forget to rewind. And we're recording this on May 4th. Happy Star Wars Day to everyone.
It might be Revenge of the 5th? Is it called Revenge?
Yeah, the day after is Revenge of the 5th.
Oh, okay. But it's May 4th today. That's all that matters.
It's almost like a religious holiday with like how many days like it kind of goes on, and like, what is it? You got May the 4th be with you, Revenge of the 5th.
And then something with the Siths, right?
Is it, wouldn't Revenge of the 6th make more sense?
Yeah, that would be more certain.
Like the word Sith is actually in.
May is the whole Star Wars month, basically.
We don't make the rules.
We claim it.
I mean, Star Wars is every day for Ethan.
Well, Star Wars delivered this year, though.
Yes, they did.
Finally.
They specifically delivered today.
Yeah.
With Tales from the Empire.
We just watched this right away. Ethan's like, "You want to watch these?" I'm like, "How long are there?" And he's like, six episodes, 15 minutes each. I'm like, "Oh, we can do that easily."
Yeah, it was funny. The first episode, you're just kind of like, "Oh man, that was 15 minutes."
It was so fast. It was like it felt like a whole show in 15 minutes, which I guess kind of makes sense.
Quality content.
But it's Dave Filoni. You know you're going to get quality with him.
Yeah. So, I mean, for all you who don't know, the Tales of the Empire, I guess, would kind of be a second season or like the successor to Tales of the Jedi, which came out in 2022, which was Ahsoka and Count Dooku's storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like different key moments in their lives and like how these two people in similar situations kind of went down different paths. This is more along the same style and same kind of narrative choice, but instead we have Barriss Offee and Morgan Elsbeth. I kind of gestured towards Annmarie, be like, "All right, you answer this question," and then she's just like completely deer in the headlights.
Panic is sudden. Well, I know Morgan. I couldn't think of Barriss's name. I was like, she's yellow, and
I always think of like coffee, like Barriss Coffee, Barriss Offee.
Oh, that's a good way.
Yeah.
Yes. So wait, this is super interesting because Tales of the Jedi came out in 2022, and this is Tales of the Empire. Do you know if they're gonna make like little stories like this? Because it's kind of interesting how they do it. It's like they tell 3 episodes is dedicated to one character in their story.
Yeah, so the thing that's interesting is I knew a while back that they had announced a second season for Tales of the Jedi, and then they announced Tales of the Empire was like a month ago, or 2 months ago, I can't remember when, but they announced it out of nowhere, so a lot of people, including myself, were thinking like, this is awesome, I love it, but does this mean that this is the second season of Tales of the Jedi, but was under some sort of secret?
Yeah.
Working title like this or alternative title, and I'm not sure if we still have an answer to that yet, if this is technically the second season or if this is something of its own, but I'm more kind of like of the vibes that it feels like a second season.
Oh, really?
I think so. I mean, personally, that's where I'm coming from, because it's just, why would you have 2 separate shows kind of doing the same thing? Unless you're doing unless they're their own limited series. I don't know, it just seems a little weird.
That's interesting because I thought of it as like an anthology thing, like where you tell someone's story and all that, kind of like American Horror Story in a way. So I like it more like this. Like, I would love, like, we're going to talk about the 2 main characters in this, but I really hope they do more of this. Like, I want to see other people's characters and what ended up happening to them, so.
Yeah, I want more, and again.
Bring it more Star Wars.
So, Morgan Elsbeth, I guess let's start with her storyline, what we thought with her.
Yeah, I thought, so Ethan had to remind me of when this all takes place, because I was like, because it's so interesting because they really weave it into like other stories and all that of what we've seen in live action or animated and all that. So Morgan's story was really interesting because she took kind of the darker path. Like her story, she's like, everything is burning in my life. So we're going to keep that going. Like, I'm going to be evil now. And I love it.
Yeah, I mean, like, we already know through Ahsoka and The Mandalorian, like, where Morgan's path, like, kind of ultimately leads to. And this just kind of gives us a little more context there as to where she came from. And personally, between the two storylines that we were given, I actually liked Morgan's better.
Really?
I know I've been hearing a lot of people like Barris's, and I knew that would be like the popular one.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have been theorizing, where's Barris? Where's Barris Laffy? Yeah, what happened? Well, my theory better be right on Wattpad or whatever. But I don't know. but I don't even know what Wattpad is. But anyway. So yeah, like I thought that Morgan's was so much more interesting, and just where she came from, and like a very interesting way to start off, like where it's the like genocide of the Night Sisters going on with Grievous from the Clone Wars, which was so like, it was such a dark moment in the Clone Wars series. That's like, oh, that's such a interesting point to go back to and be like, here's another perspective of what happened. It wasn't like a quick one and done, like maybe 1-2 episode thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, no, this was this big event that happened in Star Wars lore. And to see it from this alternative angle, that we see one character and her continue on through the saga to that point of like past episode 6, like to the New Republic, working with Thrawn, which by the way, that Thrawn episode.
Oh, yeah. He's like one of our favorite villains, though.
Wearing the shirt, bro.
You're wearing the shirt. Ethan's wearing a Thrawn shirt, everyone. I'm kind of different on it because I like the episode. It's not bad at all, but I guess like her storyline like didn't interest me as much because I know where it ends up. Like she fights Ahsoka and everything. But it was interesting. It was great to see Thrawn again, and obviously it links back to Rebels with the ships and everything, and so that's kind of cool too. Like, to me, it just blows my mind. Like, Dave Filoni's mind is insane because how he like connects all these stories together is incredible to me.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the whole interweaving of it all, it's almost like he's like that where one of the fates.
Yeah.
Just kind of like his threading of the fates, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, so just, I don't know, it's really neat what he comes up with something that's already established and like how it so is perfectly kind of meshes in. I know a lot of people had their own kind of theories about like where each character would go. And from what I've been hearing from a lot of people that also watched it, they were a little disappointed. Like they were kind of thinking like, oh, you know, it was okay, but why didn't we get like this character interacting with this character? And it felt a lot of very similar to when we were watching WandaVision. It's like, well, why isn't Mephisto in there? And why isn't like that? Like, guys, they have no narrative purpose here.
You can't fit everyone in one story.
Exactly. Like a cameo or whatever, it's nice, but you can't just throw it in there without a narrative purpose.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds interesting. Yeah, because like I guess like to me, I didn't expect Thrawn to show up, but it was cool for him to show up. But he didn't, like, I don't know. Like, I guess to me, like, I don't need those cameos to make something like awesome or not in a way. So
yeah, I mean, for me, just having Thrawn and everything gets me hype.
Yeah, of course. I'm just glad it's Lars Mikkelsen. I love that he's so dedicated to this role.
And his appearance in I mean, like, I know it's a younger Thrawn, but like his appearance is very different than Rebels, where he's a little more alien looking. Here, he looks a lot more almost human, but still kind of alien.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like this version better than the Rebels one.
Really?
Yeah, I like it where he kind of looks more human and a little, I mean, again, nothing against the design of the Rebels version, but if I had to pick between the two of which one feels more Thrawn, I would say that one.
That's so interesting. I feel like also the animation in this is like, I said it cleaner. I don't know what I truly mean by it it being cleaner animation, but I liked it more. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. And speaking of, that'll carry us into our next segment with going into Barasafi's story.
yeah,
Because Morgan Elspeth, she has a really interesting going from the Night Sisters to working with Thrawn in the TIE Defender program and all that. That's all neat. But then you get to Barasafi, who's a little more of an established character from Clone Wars. And last we saw her, spoiler for Clone Wars, is, she stabbed Ahsoka in the back, a little metaphorically here. And Anakin kind of defended her against Barasafi. And next thing we know, Barasafi is in jail for fighting against the Jedi and seeing basically seeing that they were wrong, but in their hubris, but kind of not going the right way about handling it.
yeah.
So, it's interesting. A lot of people have had a lot of time, because it's been almost a decade, I think, or even more than a decade. Yeah, since we've last seen her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to see her now and finally have her story fleshed out a little more between 3 episodes, I think was spectacular.
It's interesting. I liked her story a lot more, too, because the Inquisitors is such a cool, team, or I don't know what you want to call them, but the Inquisitors are so cool to me, and their mission and everything like that. And so it was really exciting to see her story more, because I think I just gotten to know her more from the Clone Wars series and everything. And so I really enjoyed her story and where it goes, too, because she decides to turn against the Inquisitors at the end, which is super interesting, and become this messiah-ish character that helps heal people and all that. And so I don't know, I always find it interesting in the Star Wars lore of where Jedis who survive Order 66 end up.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, for a lot of people who kind of grew up with the original trilogy with no prequels, kind of seeing more and more Jedi kind of that survived Order 66 in their head. They're like, what's the point? And I'm just like,
many of them died.
I'm just like, there's a whole order, man. You can't tell me there weren't some survivors. So, I mean, yeah, it's really neat to see Barasafi become that Inquisitor, and we get to see the Grand Inquisitor again.
Yeah. And he's one of my favorite villains.
Really?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't read the Star Wars books. That I read one of them, and I did it wasn't my kind of thing, but I think the Grand Inquisitor might be my favorite villain over Thrawn.
Please elaborate.
Ethan was like, what? I just think he's so cool. I love oh my goodness. In Rebels and in Clone Wars,
Well, he's not in Clone Wars.
No, he's not in Clone Wars. Hold on. Take that back.
Yeah, no, he's in Rebels and the Obi-Wan show.
Yeah. Well, we don't talk about the Obi-Wan.
By the way, I like how we call it, rather than, it's just called Kenobi, right? Or Obi-Wan Kenobi. But we call it the Obi-Wan show as if it's a game show almost. We don't really take it too seriously.
I'm trying to think what it's called.
Welcome to the Obi-Wan Kenobi. Hello there, and welcome to the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
I don't know. I just like that kind of villain a little bit more. Thrawn is definitely a cool villain and such a thinker and everything behind him. And obviously you know more because you read all 3 of the books. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, the Grand Inquisitor I like quite a bit as well. Him going from a character that you would think is just sheer evil, in Rebels, to kind of having a little more nuance to him, where it's he used to be, spoiler for Rebels here, he used to be a court, a Jedi Temple guard or something that, or part of that whole Jedi Order. And it's so neat to see him go from that to kind of talk about those nuances of I know that he has some sort of realization, I know it's not the perfect way of going, but it's the better way of going, with the Empire and all that from his point of view. And he's has some sort of understanding to him that almost gets you to relate and feel for him.
Yeah.
Or feel with him. I mean, it's. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Now with Thrawn, let me just hold up here.
Go on.
Now with Thrawn, I know that you haven't read the books, but and honestly, the shows and all that, they do a good job, I think, of handling him. I think they could do a little better, but they do overall do a solid job of presenting who Thrawn is and what he's capable of. And the books, though, like they really do elaborate and like really show the complexities of Thrawn's mind and his inner workings. Now, honestly, I think you would like the newer ones that are considered canon. The one that's just called Thrawn and has like half of his blue wool face on the book. And that one is interesting because it's kind of written like Dune, where it like has a lot of inner thoughts, italicized and written across. So you might like that one. And you all might like it if you like Dune. So just a little push out there.
Do you think there'll ever be like, would it be interesting to you if they did another season of this and one of the stories is Thrawn? Or do you think it needs way more, like not more than 3 episodes? Like it needs 6 episodes or more?
Honestly, I think it needs more. Like, but again, maybe someone's thought the same thing for Morgan Elsbeth or Barriss Fate. You were having her trouble with her name, now I am. So it's contagious. Barriss and same thing with Ahsoka, who did get her own show.
Yeah.
And then you have Count Dooku, and I mean, it's just like you just need to have enough to tell a good story with. It doesn't matter how long, like how many episodes it is, as long as you tell a cohesive and great, fulfilling story. So, I mean, with Thrawn, I would love if we got any extra Thrawn content on the screen. I'm here for it. But, if they don't have a story to tell, I mean, they should, and they definitely do. But if they don't, then, like, I wouldn't want that to be made.
It might be smart to make one, though, too, because I don't know what Star Wars and Kathleen Kennedy is leading up to. I know we're supposed to get a Universe film. We're supposed to get another season Mandalorian, maybe another season of Ahsoka, and we all kind of have felt that Thrawn's like the big bad, so maybe doing something like this might help build him a little bit more, too.
Yeah, I was actually, I mean, I know we're getting a little sidetracked with Thrawn here, but one more point before we get back to Barriss, is I would really like if they implemented Thrawn into Andor with season 2.
Yeah.
Because he is so involved in that Imperial Navy and all that I think it would be kind of they would be remiss to miss out on adding Thrawn to the cast. Whether it be Lars Mikkelsen, like, and they DH him, or like maybe get a younger guy. I would rather them have a younger guy play Thrawn at that point in his life and career. I mean, I just think it's so valuable to add him to a show like that. And if not, maybe have an Andor-esque show where Timothy Zahn is writing it, or like a consultant, but it's like that Andor style where it's like more so HBO-esque, I guess would be the term, and much more serious and more dramatic. So,
does Lars have a son? Maybe he can do it.
I don't know. He's so cool as the character. I don't really go into his genealogy or like his family. So, but anyway, back to Barriss Offee, the true star of the show. So,
sorry.
No, that's my bad. I fan rant. So yes, she goes from being an inquisitor and kind of has a little bit of some interesting nuances of her own between like light and dark, and like Empire versus what the Jedi used to be, and she kind of notices some things along the way.
Yeah, I think if they had more episodes, they would have explored that a little bit more too. It obviously is 3 episodes, 15 minutes each, so it's really short. But I love when they kind of do that, because like the Jedi are not always right, and the Sith aren't always right, and so for a Jedi or former Jedi to struggle with that, I think it's super interesting.
Yeah, and I gotta say though, between Barriss and Morgan Elsbeth and like all the characters that we had seen on screen, I think the best one, like design wise and like detail wise and animation wise, had to be Lynn.
Really?
I don't know. She seemed like whoever was like in charge of her character did a phenomenal job. It just almost seemed like night and day with her design and like detail focus versus everyone else's.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it's just like how her yellow eyes kind of like worked with like the rest of her, countenance and like mannerisms and cadence. I mean, I don't know exactly what it was, but there just felt something a little different, like that, a little more improved and elevated. Like she was ripped out of one of the Fallen Order games and then just kind of like copy and pasted in there. And I'm not complaining. It's quality content.
I would love to see more of her too. I think that'd be cool to add to her story as well.
Yeah. Like what if she ends up teaming with Ahsoka?
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That'd be interesting. I'm not sure how that would all work, but
Dave Filoni will figure it out.
Yeah. So, by the way, Vader does appear in this, and they made a big deal in the trailer about that.
He's in it for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, he gets the Jesse Plemons Civil War treatment. He's in it for a little bit. He's used in the trailer quite a bit, and he's there and gone.
Maybe I like the Inquisitor so much because he's not oversaturated like Darth Vader. Don't get me wrong, love Darth Vader, terrifying, love him in Rogue One where he's just killing people in that hallway. But like, I kind of like seeing a different villain.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I just wish his design in Kenobi was better.
Oh, we're not.
So anyway.
Speaking of Disney Plus shows, though, are we done with Tales of the Jedi? Or
Tales of the Empire?
Oh my gosh.
Well, okay, I guess, if we're talking about something else, Star Wars, before we leave, how many lightsabers? Little callback to the Civil War review. How many lightsabers would you give out of 10 for Tales of the Empire?
I think I give it 9. It's really short episodes, so you can't really get into it fully because, like, you watch 3 episodes and the story is done. But I think it's beautiful. I think Dave Filoni's mind is incredible, and for him to be like, I'm gonna take this side character and make a story for them, I think it's really neat.
Yeah, it really adds to the world, and that Star Wars always kind of harkens back to, like, that whole immersing you in that world along with the storytelling. I would give it a 9 out of 10 as well. I really liked it. I thought maybe some areas we could have, like, I don't know, I guess I wanted more.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, any Star Wars fan would. But, I don't know. It felt near perfect to me.
Yeah.
Not quite perfect, but near perfect.
Nearly perfect.
Nearly perfect. So, yeah, I give it a 9 out of 10. Lightsabers. So, yeah, before we move on to, I guess, a Disney Plus Star Wars mention.
Remember the Acolyte trailer?
The Acolyte. Oh, yeah, we got to talk about this. Yeah. But before we do, don't forget to let us know what you thought about Tales of the Empire. Have you seen it? Are you going to watch it? Did you spend your day watching it tonight on Star Wars Day with your blue milk in hand that you just bought from the grocery store?
We should have gotten blue milk.
Freshly squeezed. And yeah, did you enjoy it? Let us know in those comments down below. Now, next up here, we're going to talk about a little show that you may have heard about, The Acolyte.
The Acolyte. Okay, so Ethan and I, when the first trailer came out, we're going to be honest and call it what it is. It was a bad trailer. Like, it's not good.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people, this show was hyped up. And the little teaser that they gave before that first trailer came out, it was so cool because it's just a poster with an unlit lightsaber with blood used as, like, the blade imagery that goes along the wall behind it. And that is so cool. I'm like, yes, we're going to get, like, old dark Sith, like, borderline Old Republic, esque kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it. Then we get that trailer. And it kind of felt like a, youth detective novel. Like more High Republic novel stuff that I would find in the kids section.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something that's really bad, and Disney Plus, please don't get mad. It felt a little CW. Like, you know, the CW with the Flash and Arrow and all that. And when people say that looks like a CW show, just saying.
Nothing against Supernatural.
Nothing, no, but like Disney Plus hasn't had the best track record. Like, they've had hits like Mando and everything, but like Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, just some stuff. And so I was very disappointed with that first trailer.
Yeah, and I mean, I absolutely was too. I mean, you got Daphne Keenan there. You got like,
We haven't seen her yet.
oh yeah, we have. She's like wearing all white and she's like an alien creature.
Oh,
Yeah.
never mind. Take that back.
But yeah, you know, and I also got to see. So I saw the Phantom Menace re-release the other day. I guess it would be yesterday, May 3rd, and it, you know, Phantom Menace aside, you know, I enjoy it. That's my quick thoughts. I enjoyed Phantom Menace, flaws and all.
It's been 25 years. People know what this movie is.
Yeah, but they gave a little teaser for The Acolyte, like a little sneak extended preview. And so I'm like, oh, you know, this might give a better idea. They might show something, because they've been hyping up this idea of like, oh, The Acolyte is going to contain this whole like fight scene, or all these different lightsaber fights that are going to make the Darth Maul Phantom Menace fight look like poopy. And it's just like, okay, well, show that to me, or show me in something close to that. And I go into this little preview. It's really just an extension of the bar scene that you see in the trailer. And it's really just visual noise without any real narrative purpose.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, you know, the action looked cool, you know, credit to the choreographers and all that. But it didn't feel like there were any stakes, you know? I mean, which is crazy that I wouldn't care about something like this, because it's a force-wielding assassin going after a Jedi who's not using her lightsaber. And I'm like, this should be really cool and engaging.
It's an interesting premise, and they didn't do a good job marketing it till now.
Till today, May 4th. And by the way, after the preview they showed, rather than showing the trailer they showed on May 4th and released on May 4th, they showed the trailer that we, like, both Annmarie and I agree is terrible.
The first trailer.
Yeah, the one that makes look a YA novel.
Yeah.
So this one, holy crap, night and day over here.
If it was a different trailer house, thank you for cutting it, because, man, like, I was so much more interested in it. Like, Star Wars has been in a low lately for me. It's just they're not doing their best work, and we haven't had a movie in so long. Kathleen Kennedy, please just make a Star Wars movie already. But so I feel like finally I was like, oh my god, like, this is exciting, like, this is cool, like, showing stuff for it, and man, I'm like excited.
Yeah, I mean, and this one really did capture the whole darker side of things, you know, and as much as I would love to see this in a theater, maybe it might do better as a TV show. And you got a really good showrunner behind it. I can't remember her name. Same one as Russian Dolls. That was on Netflix, but I heard that was a good show. And, you know, it does have a lot going for it, in the sense of a little more refreshing edge of like, this is a new era that we're finally seeing on the big screen, or like a small screen, depending on your budget. And, you know, it's going to be really interesting to see that darker side, and where the Sith and Jedi are a little more combative, a little more frequent. And it's going to be interesting to see where it goes from there. I hope they don't lean into that whole YA novel mentality and lean more into what this trailer was about, where it's like, someone's murdering Jedi. And like, you see her rip the blade out with like the force from like with the blade that's piercing the wood on the ground. I'm like, that is so cool. You know, it's stuff like that I'm like, we need more of this.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. I think this trailer did a better job of showing the darker side of it, like you said, like the hunting of the Jedi. Like, that's so like neat. Like, there's so much in the Star Wars universe, and I think we got a little bit more of the story. Because one of the Jedis was like, I trained her and all that. And like, to me, that's just so cool. You have your Padawan who just turned against you, and they know everything about
Holy
you.
crap. You know, I just realized
What?
this might be like the first. You ever seen the movie First Blood?
Yeah.
This might be the first blood of Star Wars. Because it's like, you know, the guy that was his captain or whatever is the one that's kind of like trying to mediate the situation, hunting them down. So it's kind of like,
So interesting.
yeah, maybe this Jedi assassin is like Rambo.
Oh my gosh.
Yo, that would be cool.
And I also like the main actress, Amanda Stenberg, I want to believe. I really like her too. And like she can play a dark role. And so I hope it's not CW. Like I really want to go dark for this.
Yeah, like fully lean into it. And again, you know, with the witchcraft and this trailer that we see, and like the pupils dilating beyond their eyes. Like, I mean, it's just so cool. It is so cool. I'm digging this vibe. Please stick on track with this vibe.
And it comes out soon too. Like June, right?
Yeah, almost exactly a month from now. I just want it to be good. It doesn't have to be great. I want it to be great, but just has to be good.
I just want it on the level of like Andor or Mandalorian season 1 or season 2. Like that's the level I want it to be.
I have a feeling it's going to be more Mandalorian season 1.
I'll take it. I love Mandalorian season 1.
Or Mandalorian season 2.
As long as it's not like 3, I don't care.
Amen. And on that note, thank you for joining us on this very special episode of Cassette Take. We hope that you haven't ejected this far into the episode, but if you have, please don't forget to rewind. Let us know what your thoughts are on the Acolyte or Tales of the Empire, like we mentioned before. So, whatever your thoughts on any Star Wars content that has been, is going on, or will be, let us know in those comments down below.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. You all have a great, great Star Wars holiday. Drink your blue milk.
And don't murder younglings.
And don't what?